Hi everyone, welcome to our first session with AWS Cloud Path. So essentially we'll be going through different phases of working with AWS, cloud computing and experimenting, building different kind of projects and solutions that we'd like to work together on. So today we'll be doing the very basics like setting up an AWS account from the scratch and just looking at what kind of solutions and services that we have options and access to set up with AWS. So if you're on the WhatsApp channel, you would have seen this link that I shared before. This is cloud computing, about cloud computing. I don't know if you've had time to look at it, but I can also just give a quick rundown. So yes, I did a research on cloud computing like 4 or 5 years ago for my bachelor's thesis, and I found it interesting that all cloud providers actually are targeting the same end goals in terms of security, scalability, and all of that. So that's the kind of breakdown that you get to see on this page. And I wanted to share this first of all before we get started into AWS and everything related to it, because what I've seen, like in the big picture, is that a lot of people don't understand their foes, or will I say like the other side, what they are facing when they want to go into cloud computing. So I get to see a lot of people withdrawing and taking a step back from exploring what access they can use on cloud, or what services, solutions that they can deploy in the cloud space. So yes, that's why I shared this link first of all. So cloud computing, essentially, you get to build new solutions that you couldn't actually take care of all by yourself with your own computer or with your own deployment in the traditional like hosting providers. And when you get to scroll down in this page, you see the different benefits that you get to experience here. Everyone is always scared of costs with cloud computing, but on this first day, that is something that we're going to touch to make sure that as you open your first AWS account, or maybe you're just trying this with us and you already have AWS accounts before, but I think it's very, very important to get the cost part of it at least as basic as possible, like already under control from the beginning, so that when you start experimenting services, you wouldn't have bills that would have you regretting ever, stepping your foot in the cloud. So yes, we'll touch that too. But we have benefits of cloud computing here. There's agility, elasticity. These are things that you hear all the time about cloud, how you can use pay-as-you-go services. You don't have to already have your exact storage size or your exact bandwidth or exact measurement of the things that you want, like provision. You can be flexible with how you use the cloud space. And that is where the cost savings come in. But I've heard a lot of stories from people that they have the cost savings dream sold to them, and then they get into the cloud and the first bill is through the roof. So yes, while you can save costs in cloud computing or using cloud services, there's also the part of financial management, cost optimization that you have to be careful about. So these are things that we would take into consideration as we go through everything that we're working together in the next weeks, months, wherever. So yes, deploy globally in minutes, talking about speed and efficiency. And these are the three main types of cloud computing. So a lot of the services that we're going to be touching in AWS Cloud will fall under one of these ones. You get to hear more specialized titles like database as a service, function as a service, stuff like that. Essentially, personally, I'll still classify all of them under one of these three. It's just more specialized type of platform, for instance, or more specialized type of software. So everything you're going to be working with is going to be on one of these three levels. The infrastructure gives you more control over what you can deploy or what you can set up in the cloud environment, but there's still the managed part, because you don't have to bring the servers physically by yourself. For instance, the server is provisioned by them, and then you get to configure how you want it to look and all that. So there's always some abstraction at different levels. And these three just offer different levels of abstractions, different levels of managed services that you can use in AWS. So yes, you can just keep it behind, like on your head. Whenever you're working, you can at least identify where each one falls in, whether it's infrastructure as a service, whether it's platform as a service, whether it is software as a service. And as you can guess, software as a service offers the highest level of abstraction and management of all the things underneath than infrastructure as service would. And yes, I think those are the main things. This part I want to show you is about like sample like solutions or use cases, what you can experiment with in AWS. There are over 200 services, 200 like already provisioned resources, not resources. I think service is still the best word. You'll get to know why. But yes, there's still over 200 services available in AWS environments. This does not cover it, but you can easily categorize them like under these main ones. Your compute solutions. Compute meaning where you can deploy things when you're talking of servers, where you're talking of running stuff. You're talking compute capacity, your compute solutions. Then you have databases, your data storage solutions. Then, of course, the AI and ML solutions. So everything falls, I won't say everything, but the majority of things that you'll be using that are not, specialized solutions fall under something here. You may have like other things that connect them, like maybe your queues and all that. But essentially, these are the major things that you want to familiarize yourself with, building cloud native applications from the beginning. Where will my application run? Where can I deploy this thing? Okay, compute. Which kind of data storage, which kind of databases do I have access to? You're talking databases, you're talking your storage solutions for your media and all that. All of them fall under somewhere here. So now we can move on to the actual part of, getting our hands into the AWS waters and trying out stuff. So we have AWS console. To get here, I will go through the Google route so that we can all see. You can easily just go to google.com and search for AWS console. You don't want to pick the first one. This is always the AWS homepage. You want to go for the second one that has console here in the name. And yes, my browser is currently in German. Maybe I should, let me see if I can change it. Yeah. But you want to go to the second one. You click create an AWS account. Can you see my mouse up here? And you can explore this page if you want to. But yes, you can just go ahead and create an AWS account. So we'll be creating an AWS account together. I already have my AWS account, more than one, but I'll do a new one. And this is the best time to tell you that you can have as many AWS accounts as you want without creating more email addresses. I'm not the best person to tell you if this is legal or not. I think it's legal because you're not doing anything fraudulent. But we all know that AWS has like free tier products. You are moving to the cloud, you don't have to start spending money right away. There are different free tier products, free tier solutions that you can use. Almost every service on AWS has a free tier version or a free tier solution available to you. We'll look at that. But as I was saying, you can create multiple AWS accounts and start your free tier access again with every new account you create by using this alias for your email address. So here's an email address I'm going to put out here. So this plus, you can write anything that you want to write here. I'm just going to write acp@gmail.com. So my email address is normal without this plus, but you can add the plus with any any alias you want to add here, and you can create as many accounts as you want. So you don't have to keep creating email addresses. And with that, you can reset your free tier and start using AWS for free all over again for your practice, for your personal exploration of projects. And you can name your account anything you want. I'm going to name it AWS Cloud Path because I'll just be using this for all the things we'll be working with going forward. So verify the email address. I will be verifying this in a different browser, but yes, let's look at that. A moment, please. So yes, I got the code. It is 000626. You cannot be. And yeah, give it my best. So every time you set up an AWS account, I know that you usually have to verify your contact details, verify your credit card details and all that. It doesn't mean that you are going to start paying for AWS from the beginning, but it's just kind of verification. And there are things that you even want to do down the line that they'll tell you you need to verify your phone number and all that. But yes, it can just go as far as you need to go right now. I plan to use AWS for my personal projects. And let me see. I'll put my full name. And the phone number that I don't usually use. What's that? Ein Moment, bitte. Germany. No, I'm going to put it on my email. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward through this, and yes, ein Moment. This is what I was talking about, that you need to set up your billing information. It doesn't mean that you're going to start getting charged from the get-go. As you can see here, it's explained here that you will not be charged for anything that is not above your free tier limits. There are a lot of services that you can use with AWS that is still within the free tier limits. And there would be a temporary hold just to verify that your payment method actually works, and it's going to be reversed. But I'm going to pause here because this is already like the end of the creating accounts. I won't be fully creating this account because I already have, like I said, multiple AWS accounts. But the main point is to get your account started. I would show you the free tier services and how you can always make sure that you are still within your free tier limits. There's a lot of ways you can check your quota, but we would look into the free tier. Then I would sign into the account I already created before this particular demo, and then we would get started with setting up our console environment and preparing to use AWS together. So for the AWS free tier, you can just Google AWS free tier, and it's usually the second link. I mean, you can check this, but this is not what you want to be looking for. This is about creating another AWS account. It's about creating another AWS account. You'll see the details here, but you can also go through this place. The free cloud computing. This one is more, I mean, it's the same thing, but the links are just different. So yes, there are a lot of AWS free services, and you can explore as much as you want with them. Just make sure you don't leave your EC2 instance running and then it goes beyond the Amazon free tier limit. So first of all, you want to know that there are different ways that the free tier services are usually classified. There are the ones that have free trials, that maybe for a certain period you use them completely free. There are the ones that have a full year free, and most times there's also usually another clause with it, like maybe 12 months free, and like we have 750 hours for the EC2 instance here. So if you use 750 hours completely before 12 months is over, I mean for each month actually, for each month. But there are services that would say if you use this particular amount of time if you use this amount of quota before the time is up, it's your free tier is done with. So you just need to know which service you are using. I usually come here to check. If I want to use a free tier product, I usually come here to check to see what my limits are. So for this one now, like I said, this EC2 instances, it actually gives you 750 hours per month for 12 months. So when you go beyond 750 hours in a month, you're going to be charged for it. You understand that? You're going to be charged for it. And then you can look into details of every single clause that you might have around using these services, that, okay, this free access is only for particular types of servers. It's not for the really expensive, complex, high compute performance kind of servers, possibly just for the micro instances and things that you can really use, like for small scale projects, for instance. Or Amazon S3 is giving you free tier for standard storage. When you get to explore them, you see like, oh, these particular services have multiple, let's say, versions of themselves. Like Amazon S3, apart from the standard storage, it has like other tiers of storage, like the archive, like it has different storage tiers. So always make sure you verify. I'm saying this at the beginning because it's usually an issue when you get started and you are not prepared for the costs. It can really ruin your cloud experience. So yes, familiarize yourself with this page and you can bookmark it and always just come back. You can easily filter based on what you are looking for and the kind of free tier that you're looking for. So for this one, you see the services that are always free forever. So you can use as much as 1 million requests on Lambda forever without ever paying for Lambda. Or you can use as much as 25 gig of storage on DynamoDB forever without ever paying for it. So there's a lot of free stuff. Yes. So if you're one of those that have been saying that, oh, I don't want to try cloud computing, or I don't want to migrate to the cloud, I don't want to move to the cloud because it's cost intensive. It is not. And if you also take your time to look into cost optimization for projects that are beyond this free tier, you will see like you can still have reasonable results with like really affordable prices compared to the counterparts that you would have tried like in traditional hosting services or trying to run it from your local computer. I don't know why I keep saying that. I don't think anyone actually hosts stuff from their local computer. But yes. So here we are. Seeing the free tier, and now we'll go to the AWS account. If you were following along, I'm guessing that by now you've been able to get past the billing information and set up your AWS account. So I will be logging into an account that I already created. So we'll go back to the console sign up and sign into an existing AWS account. Okay. Even though I didn't complete this account creation, it went ahead to create it because I still need to add the details for this. But this is not the account that I wanted to log into. Maybe I can just go with it for now and I'll deal with that later. Is it possible? Let me see. There's somewhere I want to take us to. Yes, I guess we can still work with this for today. So Here's the first AWS service that I would like to show you, the identity and access management. So we've created the account and we have a lot of things going on with our AWS accounts underneath, like so many things that probably you don't want to explore from the beginning with all the different services. But you want to have your hands in your identity and access management service because this is where the security for your entire account comes in. And anytime you create a new AWS account, you really want to come here and add multi-factor authentication for your root user. This is your root user, and you don't want to be using your root user for everything you want to do. When you create your account, you come here, you add multi-factor authentication to secure your account. It's nothing difficult. There are different options. You can use your authenticator app from your phone. You can use a security key from your laptop, or like maybe this fingerprint scanner, face scanner. Like, it's just about setting up multi-factor authentication. And let me use one here to show you how it's going to be done. I will set one with my laptop. So I usually call my laptop MCB MacBook. And I'll be using this passkey or security key. So here you can also use your authenticator app. Like I said, it depends on you. And I just need to scan this. Oh no, don't scan it. You shouldn't. But yeah. The point is, you want to secure your accounts one way or the other. And that's the main thing. So this is not a serious account that I have anything secure on, or that I use like real details for. The address is not my real address and all of that. But the point is, these are things that you want to keep private because this is your really secure environment. Your account details, your access keys that we're going to be working with and all of that, you want to keep them secure. Because I'm showing you now doesn't mean you should show someone everything that is in your identity and access management account. So your identity and access management service in your AWS account. So yes, you want to secure your AWS account. As you can see, we've set up multi-factor authentication. This is best practice for AWS security. When you're reviewing someone's architecture, one of the first things you usually ask is, do you have multi-factor authentication set up for your root user? It's important. So yes, you have this set up now, and we won't be creating access keys yet. I'm going to explain everything, but the point is, you create this root user, you don't actually use this root user for anything. That is the best practice for AWS accounts. Most people, when I started with AWS, I created one account and then I just started using it like that. No, that's not ideal. You don't do that. So yes, here we are now. And the first thing we would do is to create another user in our AWS account. So let me explain how these AWS users and everything about it works. You have your AWS account, yes, but you can have different services, different connections with your AWS account. And there's a lot of different ways that you can set that up in the AWS environment. Yes. So imagine this is a single account setup. Only one AWS account here. And I want to have a small team where we work together to deploy something in this AWS account. Maybe myself, I'm the developer. I have another friend that is another developer. And the third friend is another developer. So we're just 3 developers. And we shouldn't all be trying to log in with the exact same account, the exact same user ID into this AWS account. It's one AWS account, but you can set it up with different people being able to use this AWS account to deploy things. We're deploying application, or we are sharing media to S3 or whatever it is. Or maybe you have your what do you call this thing, your application that you want it to be able to do some things in AWS. Like you want this application to be able to fetch an image from your storage, or you want it to be able to write, like to update your database with information. All these things are at areas that you want to grant access to that particular user, to that particular service, to that particular application. You don't want everyone using your root. Even you shouldn't be using the root. We said that before, but you shouldn't be using the root. So, yes, we are here in access management. I'm going to be going through everything that we have in this side of the window. I don't know if you can see it clearly. But yes, this is the access management, and then you have the access reports, like drop downs here. You can see them here. So I'm starting with the access management. What we have here is the overview, yes. And you can see at the top, it's there clearly that we have the root user logged in. It's important to know that we're in the root user now. The root user has like superpower, super access to everything. That's why you don't want to be using it to do normal things in case it gets compromised. Now, the access management, we have user groups. A user group is a collection of IAM users. I mean, IAM means identity access management, so you might see it a lot in AWS stuff, IAM. So a user group is a collection of IAM users, and you can use this to grant access to people in bulk. I said in bulk. I don't know if that's the best word to use, but yes. Instead of granting access to each user that you create, you want to maybe, like I said, 3 of us, we are all developers and we want to be deploying things. As we are all developers, we probably should, like a high level, we should have the same level of access to do things that developers do in this environment. So instead of granting each user access to particular services, imagine I create a group called developers. I create a group called developers. I'm explaining and creating it so that we can work together. I create a group called developers. I don't have any users created yet. I don't have to. And I can just create the group empty without setting anything yet for it. It's empty. No permissions, 0 users and all that. But this is a group that I can easily put users in it. I can easily add permissions to it. And everyone in that group would have access to what I have defined in the permissions. As we go forward over time, we will get to experience how permissions can really work differently in different situations. But on the basic level, the permissions used to grant access to people or to users, as you can see here, in a group or in direct access or in a service role or something. But permissions grant access. And here we have users. We have 0 users. Remember, I said that you need to create a user that is separate from your root account. So if at all, even if you are the only person working in your AWS account, by default, you want to have 2 access. Access through your root user and access through your everyday normal account. You don't want to use your root user for everyday normal activities at all. So yes, the root user. No, our second user we're going to be creating now. We're going to create a user, and I will name this dev. Yes, let me say dev1 just for. So this is dev1, and there's an option here to grant access to the console. We are in the console right now. We are in the console. And I mentioned in the description for this particular session that we're going to be looking at the console and the CLI. The CLI is the command line interface. But there are times you can create a user and say you don't want this user to be able to be coming to the console and pressing things here. You only want them to be able to access AWS programmatically, like through the API, through commands. So granting access to this console environment is optional. it's all on you, and you can always read more about this whole best practice thing here. But here I'm granting access to this console for this environment. Identity center. Identity center is another environment that you're going to see. But I'm going to create an IAM user without identity center. We're going to treat identity center separately. Yes. So auto-generated password. You can use custom password. It's all on you. And this, always check this when you create an account for someone, so that you wouldn't have to be dealing with compromised credentials, because when you share the password and then they don't change it, and so basically make sure they create a password next time they sign in. And the dev, we are creating it now with access. And remember the user group we created, I can add them to this developers group, and I can just be adding policies there. Or I can copy permissions from somewhere else and give it to this user. I don't have any other users to copy permissions from. So there's that. Or I can add permissions directly to this user. This is not very ideal, especially when you want to be able to maintain and manage what somebody has access to. Because if you're granting permissions directly to every single person, you can make mistakes when you need to update someone's permissions. Like, okay, this person has changed what they are doing for me, that what they are doing in this company, they shouldn't have access to this area again. And then you have to go and be changing every single thing for every single person. You might miss some permissions or miss some people. So yes, it's probably not ideal to deal with it this way. But this is the very basic one. So I would just add user to group. That's developers. And next would be, you don't usually have to do this, but you can do this if you are working in a more complex environment and you just want to put a limit to how far someone can go, instead of only the permissions that you are putting here. So this is developers. I'm adding them here. And yes, this is all. I'll create a user. And there we have it. So this is the password. I'm copying it, and this is the console sign-in URL. If you are creating accounts for external people that you want to grant access to your environment, instead of copying it like this and sending it to them via WhatsApp or on their Slack channel or something, you can easily just email sign-in instructions. That was meant to have sent the email to the account. Yeah, I'll have to check. Let me see if it sent it. No, I think I need to finish the configuration for the account. But yes, essentially you want to send an email instead of having to deal with it manually. Some people choose to download this file to them, which I don't know why people still download. People still download like sensitive information. But if you are using it for something or collecting it or updating it somewhere, you can get the CSV file. But we won't be doing that. I'll leave this open and I'm going to copy this to log in, because we won't be using our root user. So the IAM username is this dev1, and I didn't copy the password. I'll have to log in again, but I wanted to show you, that's why I did that. So I won't be logging in here. First, let's log in here again, because that other account doesn't yet have I'm signing in with the root user email. The other account doesn't yet have permissions. We've not added it yet. So yes, this is the root user, and what we used was this email address. acp@gmail.com. Next. So this is what happens when you set up multi-factor authentication. It always has to do this additional verification before someone logs into your root email, and that's why we do it. So yes, I'm going back to the user that we created here, and the security credentials. Probably we need to change the password, but first I want to add permissions to this. Where's the group? User group, developers. Okay, this is the user. So this developer and the permissions, I'm going to add one of the already created policies. So Amazon has 1020 policies that are already created that you can just attach without having to write them from the scratch. So here we are going to look for one. I'm not going to use administrator access, but I want these developers to have full access to the AWS environment without administrator access. That's what we call the power user. So the power user is kind of like second to the administrator, but the administrator still has full control. I believe the difference is that the power user doesn't have access to the financial part of it, like the billing and all of that, and it can't make changes to some like high level organizational things in your environment. But the power user has like full access to virtually everything. Coming here, you see it here. Everything in the account. Okay, no, this is what it allows. Okay, let me explain this. So this policy, they have different parts in the policy, and every policy looks kind of similar because you have the statement that has the effect, action or not action. So it either has the not action or it has the action. And basically when you look at a policy, you should be able to understand, okay, this is what this person has access to, or this is what this permission grants access to. So yes, effect says it allows when it is not this action. I hope that makes sense. This one allows these actions, but here it allows everything that is not this action. Well, I mean, we get to see that anyway. So this is the policy that I want to attach to this, and it may take a while to get familiar with all the ways that AWS constructs the policies, the identity, and all that. But as you use them more and more, you get to see a pattern with everything. All the policies look like this. Like when you're talking about the particular actions that they can do, it's all looking like this. You have the service that is being referenced here, and then the particular action on that service that you are referring to. So get account information on the account, get primary email on the account, list regions on the account, create servicing group on IAM. So everything, you see that there's a pattern in everything as you continue to go. So I'm attaching this policy to the developer group, and yes, they can continue working with that. And I want to get the password for this one, this developer. I should have it in security credentials. Let me see. Manage console access. I will be resetting the password because it won't show it again. So auto-generated password, the user must create password at next. Sign in, and I'll be resetting it now. So this time around, I have to make sure that I copy the password. I copy the password, and if I close it, you have to reset it again. That's how it works. So yes, logging out of this, and I'm logging in. We already came to this link before. So basically what we've done so far is to create our AWS accounts. We logged in with, the root user was what was created, and we discussed on how you should create a secure AWS account. You want your root user created with multi-factor authentication set up to protect the root account, and you want to create other users to perform activities in your account. You don't want to use your root user to be performing activities in your account. So as I'm logged out of this root user now, and I've granted this user power access, I really don't need to log into my root user to do a lot of things in my account anymore. So that keeps the access to the account very, very minimal. And this is a single account environment, yes. It gets more complex when you're working with multi-account setup or you have organizations set up, which is a more complex environment. But as we are going with just small scale, we'll be using the single user account structure. And if we have to explore multi-account structure down the line, we'll get to touch on that. But for now, we are going with this, and we have our first separate user from our user account that we're logging into now. So signing in, and I have to create a new password. So this is the old password, and let me see, this would be, I don't know if it will allow me to create a short password like this. Yeah, it didn't allow me. Password does not conform to the account password policy. So I have to create a complex account, a complex password like I did before. And we are in. Yes, we are in. So this is our dev account. Do you see something different here? We have the account ID, still the same account ID from where we were, but now we have an IAM user here. And you can see here it's written dev1 at this account ID. So you can have many user accounts, many IAM user IDs, many IAM user accounts tied to this same primary AWS account. You shouldn't be creating separate AWS accounts just for separate users. I mean, I don't even want to think about why one would do that, but yes, you can create as much AWS user IDs tied to the AWS accounts. So moving forward, on this dashboard, usually you are able to see a forecast on the things that you are working on. Like you should be able to forecast or how much you're going to be spending or how much you're going to be changing from your last month's spend to your next month's spend. Like the costs really shouldn't be catching you unawares in AWS. It really shouldn't. So here we have it. You should be able to see your applications, what's running, your recent services, it's just a dashboard, console home. And as you start to use AWS services day by day, it will be filling out nicely. You start to see forecast, or if you're not spending stuff too, you won't have high costs or anything like that, but you'll still see your recent services and what you're using. So that's what this is for. If you scroll down, you can familiarize yourself with more of AWS best practices, recommendations, articles, and all that. So these are solutions that have been deployed, vetted solutions from popular AWS use cases, and you can check them out. Like this one is Generative AI Application Builder. Let's see what it is. And there's a lot of information on it. And if you see them also, like this one says to deploy, it's probably going to take you, I have to sign up to do anything with AWS. I've not yet finished. Remember, I didn't finish sign up for this particular one. But I will switch account and then show you what I'm talking about anyway. But yes, This back here, you see, you can explore more things about AWS. Some of them may be what you are looking for. Most wouldn't, but you can search for more things that you are looking for. Like if I follow this link now, this is to an AWS blog post. But even if I am not looking at this particular blog post, I can search through a lot of different parts of AWS blog and the particular aspect that I'm interested in. Maybe I'm interested in games and all that, so I can explore as much as I want. But yeah, that is what you have here. Back on track. Now we have this account working. We have this IAM user separately created. And I said that we would protect ourselves from excess cost or unintentional subscriptions or billings in AWS. How do you do that? Let's look at this. This here is a list of AWS services. You can click a section and it will take you to what services that you have in that section. But here I want to go to Cloud Financial Management. You can see it here. It's the first C in this list. Cloud Financial Management. And I want to go to Billing and Cost Management. I still cannot. Okay, it's time for me to log out of this account. That's what it's saying. So until I complete the sign up for this, I won't be able to access a lot of things here. I'm going to log out of this and log into my own account that I created already before this. So sign out to gain full access. But if you have completed your account creation to the end, you would be able to go straight to that without having to log out like I am doing now. So I'm signing in and I'll be using a different AWS account ID. A moment please. I need to pull it up here. So this is the account ID I will be using with this. Oh, let me go to the root. Should I use the root account? Yeah, let me use the root account to show you. Let me use the root account of this particular one to show you what I'm talking about. It's still the same thing about MFA. I'm coming. I would need to. I have a different phone setup for this. Let me see. I have a different phone setup with this. Okay, then I will just use the IAM user. I should still have that one here. I think that is best anyway. So the accounts ID and then the IAM username is different. And don't ask me why I chose this username. I don't know. It was totally random. Maybe not so random, but yeah. I should have checked this before I came here. One more thing. Let me check this one. I'm just not sure. I'm thinking it should be. There must have been a mistake with this. Okay, then give me a moment. I'm going to fix this right away. So I have the IAM user set up for this account, and there's only one user, frames. Yes, frames, and I'm just verifying the details in a moment. And I'm resetting the password right now, and I would not be saying to create account because we don't have the time for that. It's me. So yeah, I just reset the password for it. So looking at the amount of power that your root account has, it's more reason why you should. Now I think AWS is just trying to mess me up because I am very sure that this is the password. I just even set it right now. So for this not working, then it's not on me at this point. Oh wait, okay, I see where the issue is from. I'm sorry, I see where the issue is from. I'm using a different account. This is the account. So the password was right all along. It was just the account. I am using a different account for this project. So yes. So seeing the kind of power that your AWS account your root user account has over the accounts that you have created or that you are setting up, it's even more reason why you should make sure that it is very, very secure. Very, very secure. So this is an account that I've already used, and this user has the power user access. As you can see, the access is denied to everything that has to do with cost and breakdown and all that. Even though I'm logging into the same account that the root user logs into, I don't have access to all the details about cost and all that. I wanted to show you that. I was saying maybe I should log into the root user directly so that we can just go directly to update the budget things. But if I try to go to the costs breakdown now, I wouldn't be able to access it. You can see that here. Access denied, access denied, access denied for almost everything. This is the cost overview. Here, you should be able to control everything that has to do with your cost in AWS. I'm pushing this forward first because most times when you start using AWS, everyone pushes on how to deploy your first service and all that without you even knowing how to maintain your wallet and make sure that you are not overcharged or or spending beyond what you are meant to spend normally. So yes, here's your billing and cost management. I would log in through the root user so that we can manage that well. But as you can see, there's a whole lot of things on the dashboard panel here that you can change and work with. I'm bringing you particularly to this budget and planning place. This is where we're coming to, and we're going to come back here now. So sit tight. This is the last step we're doing today. We didn't get to touch the CLI today, which I want us to do. Maybe we would carry that over to the next time because I don't want to exceed 1 hour. But I also want you to have like complete understanding of what we're doing here. So no rushing. I'm logging out and going back in with my root user account. Now we have the current account ID. So I fingers crossed everything will go well. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. In a moment, I want to get the password. Okay, this is sign in using the root user email. This passkey is on a different browser. I think I'll switch the browser just to complete this, because it's on a different browser. Let me just try it again. Yeah, it's on a different browser. So I will be switching the browser that I am signing into. Let me sign in using alternative factors. Which is this one. But normally you shouldn't have this kind of experience. It's just because I had this particular one tied into a totally different AWS, a totally different browser. And yes, they're calling me. Yes, I'm getting the call now. I never thought that I would be having a call on a live stream. But yes, here we are. So yeah, it's a longer process, but it still works anyway. This is the console environment. I'm going to be taken out of here and going to the console home. So yeah, you should be able to see cost and
It's
usage.
time for bed.
That was embarrassing. But yes, this is the cost and usage view that I was saying. Like, as you start to use AWS environment, you would be getting like your forecast and all that. So this is what we've used what I've used so far in January. But it's already telling me what it predicts that I would be using by the end of the month. And with this kind of forecast, I'm able to adjust my spendings on my applications or shift what I am using just to accommodate my budgets, basically. So yes, I want to take you to the billing and cost management. That's where the magic really happens. You can see comparison, forecasts, and all that. Have like good insight into what you are doing in your environment. And more than anything else, you want to go to your budget and planning. The first thing you should do in your AWS environment after setting your users and everything you want to do is to go and manage your budgets. Go and manage your budgets. I left this here so that we can do it together. The AWS budgets, you can read about it, all the benefits, features, and all that. But essentially, it does what budgets do. You set a budget and you try to stay within the budget. And with your budget, you can set alerts that, okay, when I'm approaching this budget that I set, please send me an email. Let me know that my budget will soon be reached. Let me know when I pass 70% of my budget. Let me know. Like, this is how you can, protect yourself against like crazy costs. So you create a budget and you can use a template. You can try to customize it by yourself, which is not very, very nice. So we're going to use a template. It's simplified. So yes, this is the default one. As you are going for AWS free tier, you want this zero spend budget. You want to say, I'm not here to spend anything on AWS yet. My goal is zero spending. If you charge me 1 cent, please notify me that I have been charged 1 cent. I am not ready to spend even 1 cent. That's what the zero spend budget is. So I'm not using zero spend budget because this account, they're spending on the account. But there's different ways. See this one. This zero spend budget already sets what you would need to do with the zero spend budget. With the monthly cost budget, you are saying this is the amount that I want to spend per month. So if it exceeds this amount, see it here? If you exceed this amount, then you would be notified. If you are also forecasted, like they are guessing or they're predicting that you would pass it, you'll be notified. So I think it's really good for you to define how they come here and set your budget so that you would not be crying at the end of the month. You don't want to be crying. I don't want you to be crying at the end of the month. So here, there's also the daily savings plans coverage budget. This one is for your savings plans. So savings plans is like when we talk about cost optimization with AWS, there are options that you can say like, okay, I can commit to some particular kind of usage. Like, okay, I want to use this thing for a whole year or something, and they'll give it to you cheaper. So there are different kind of savings plans that you can set up with your servers and all that. You know that, oh, this my application is going to be running for the next 5 years. And you tell AWS that, you know what, my application will be running for the next 5 years. Please give it to me cheaper. Let's negotiate cheaper rates, and I would stay with you, sign on with you for the next 3 years for this thing. There are savings plans. And for you to maintain your savings plans agreement or whatever, like, basically, yeah, that's what the budget is about. Notifying you about you maintaining your agreement with the savings plan, your defined target. And daily reservation, these are just different kinds of budgets that you want to try out. But for starting with AWS, you want to go for the zero spend budget, or you want to go for your monthly cost budget. I am going to go for the monthly cost budget because I'm using some services that are beyond AWS free tier. And my budget here, I'm going to put $50 cap. The email, I'm going to use the same email I used for this stuff. It's going to notify you. It's going to notify you, and that's the important stuff. You can put multiple emails here if you want. So you'll be notified when you reach 85% of the budget that you put. You'll be notified when you reach 100% of the budget that you put, and you'll be notified when you are forecasted to spend up to 100% of the budget that you put. So that's what happens with your budget. Once I create this budget, I can sleep in peace. I don't have to be thinking what's going on with my AWS account, because I know that it wouldn't suddenly pass $50 without telling me about it. You can have multiple budgets set up for your account. It doesn't matter. You can name it different things, set it different ways, customize it. But the point remains that once you have your budget set up, you have more peace of mind with whatever you're working on. I think I'll be rounding off here. Thank you for joining today. So you can explore more of like the billing and cost management. I think it's something you really need to familiarize yourself with before you start playing around with AWS services, because it can make or break you. It really can make or break you. One more thing, we'll look at this next time. But here, this pricing calculator can make a lot of difference for you. You are able to estimate what it will cost you to try a particular architecture, to try deploying in a particular service. You put, okay, I want to be sending 100 requests every day to this function and everything. You put it here, AWS will calculate how much will that cost you in a month before you even try it. So yes, get familiar with the billing and cost management, and your AWS journey would be much more enjoyable than it has already been so far. Thank you so much for joining, and I am very, very happy to have you here. It was an interesting session for me. I don't know about you, But yes, I had a nice time. Thank you. And yeah, someone mentioned definitely they updated the UI. They updated the UI recently. It's nice to have you here, and I hope to see you again next week. I'll be putting together a recap of everything we touched on today. I'll publish it tomorrow in an article. And see you next time. Bye bye.